Nelzy, how long have you been a student at Met West?
I've been a student at Met West for 3 years since my freshman year.
Okay, and are you a senior this year?
I'm a junior. Yeah, I'm a junior.
Okay. And tell me a little bit about Met West. How is it different from any of the schools you went to before, traditional schools?
Well, Met West is so different. First of all, we're a very small school. I think we're the smallest school in Oakland, with 160 students, I believe. And apart from that, we do internships every Tuesday and Thursday. We do school-wide internships, so everybody in school is supposed to have an internship, what makes it so different from schools. Most schools that do have internships it's not every grade, but here we start since ninth grade at the beginning of the year, so that's what makes Met West very different. Apart from that, we are an independent school, or kind of because we do have internships, and also because the teachers get to choose what they want to teach. So that's also a big difference from other schools in Oakland.
Tell me what kind of internships you've done since you've been here.
My ninth grade year, I did an internship at an elementary school called the Reach Academy. I worked with a science teacher, kind of just like leading third grade lessons, and just kind of like preparing for stuff like that. And then my 10th grade year, I did an internship at KDO TV. That I learned how to produce a video, how to edit video, how to do stuff, and just kind of like, a lot of journalism. And this year, now that I'm a junior, I'm doing a program at Highland Hospital, the HEAL program. So it's very different, but it's very convenient. Just kind of explore your interests, and those have been my internships.
How does the internship connect to what you're learning about in school?
In many cases it doesn't, but in a lot of cases it does. Now that I'm in Highland Hospital, I just kind of connect to like what I want to do when I grow up, kind of just like my passions and my interests. And Met West doesn't obviously doesn't offer like a medical class or a health class and stuff like that. So it's kind of more like I'm taking an elective. So not all times it reflects on what we learn here, except if you want to do kind of like a social justice internship, because in Met West they do a lot of social justice stuff. So other than that, it doesn't really connect to what we're learning here. But we do projects that connect to our internship and in school.
And when you say you do a lot of social justice, what does that mean, or what does that look like?
Well, to me, personally, social justice kind of just like world problems and stuff like that. And I know that I'm very passionate about like gentrification in Oakland, and that's one of the topics that I like to focus on a lot. So kind of just that's a part of social justice, kind of just like the community, and like what can we do to help the community and ourselves, especially because Oakland has like so much rich history going back.
And Elizabeth, can I ask you, who decided for Nelzy to come here? Was that you, or you both together?
¿Por qué quisiste que viniera aquí, o quién decidió?
Tú mejor.
I'll translate in English.
Okay.
Porque igual por la televisión o por la comunicación de esta escuela, que son escuelas pequeñas y que tienen un poco más enfoque los maestros en los alumnos.
So kind of just she saw that that teachers here had more focus on students, that they care more about the students, and that being a small school helps teachers do that. So she liked that about this school.
How have you as a parent been able to be involved in the school? Are there opportunities for you as a parent to be involved in some way?
Como padre, ¿cómo has sido parte de la escuela? ¿O cómo te ha ayudado?
Okay. Porque la escuela nos abre las puertas y nos hace sentir confortables que vengamos los padres. Aunque es high school, ahora los muchachos piensan que ya high school es parte de su libertad de decidir, pero no, todavía están en la etapa que los padres tenemos que enfocarnos en ellos para que no agarren caminos que no les convienen, y nos hacen sentir bien para apoyarlos y ayudarlos a que lleguen al colegio o a sus metas que quieren estudiar y a que no se vayan por caminos difíciles.
So she said that Met West feels like a great community. The fact that the teachers are very intact with the parents kind of makes it feel like a great and strong community. In high school, students think that they get more freedom, and I guess she likes that the teachers connect a lot with the parents, so the parents know that they can lead them and kind of like know what they're up to and know what they're learning, so the parents can later lead them towards aiming higher, good grades and college and stuff like that.
You know, in a lot of schools define success as doing well on a test. What does success mean here? What is the school trying to accomplish for you, and how does it decide how well you're doing?
For me, success is just like doing good, like having good job, having stable job, stuff like that. So I mean, Met West, I guess it feels like it pushes you. Going back to the internships, they want to get you outside to the real world, experience what it could be like and how it feels to be adult and mature and go look for a job and stuff like that. So I feel like, I mean, it's totally leading you towards success. Just like having the experience, I know that because of this and conducting interviews and going to people that I don't know at all, just is gonna help me later. So I know like I have good speaking skills and interview skills, so I can later just like go to an interview with like this big, like, let's say like a company, and like get the job because all the experience that I have, and I mean that just leads towards success. I feel like Met West prepares you a lot for that.
And let me ask you about the exhibitions that are going on today. What are we seeing today out there, and what's that all about?
Yeah, also exhibitions. I mean, also just going back to your first question, how is Met West different from other schools? In Met West, we don't really take finals. The only finals we take here are mostly like science and math, not even history. So exhibitions, just like presentations, are it's kind of like our final, our big final. So I mean, what we talk about in exhibitions is what we've been learning in class, what projects, your internship. You talk about your internship and what do you do there. So, I mean, it also, going back to the success question, if when you're older and they want you to do a presentation at your job, you're already prepared to do that because you've experienced it and you've done preparation for it because what they teach you in Met West. So, I mean, just like exhibitions, yeah, you talk about what you learned and you practice your presentation skills, your speaking skills, public communication or public speaking, your like stance and just the way you talk and the way you present. That's kind of what exhibitions are about, just showing people what you do and how you do stuff, and just showing people that you're capable of doing these things.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that. Anything else either of you want to say?
I mean, I feel like Met West is a great school, even though, I mean, sometimes you get kind of like overwhelmed that it's so small that you know everybody or you see the same faces all the time. But I mean, I feel like it absolutely prepares you for like for life later in life, and I feel like I made a good choice coming to Met West, and then I hope it leads me to a good path.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Can you tell me your name?
Kayla Keith.
And what grade level are you?
I'm in 10th grade.
I actually came in late to your exhibition presentation this morning, so can you tell me overall what you were presenting in the exhibition?
I was presenting on the story behind how shoes are made. I went into the details of how the resources are gathered and what goes into them and what happens to the workers who have to harvest these things and make something out of it, and so what happens to them in their lives.
And how did you learn that?
I learned it by doing a lot of research in class, and my advisor, Shannon, helped me a lot. She helped me find things that I had to really dig for, and I saw a lot of videos of tanneries getting leather for shoes.
When you do a topic like that actually has some controversy, How does the school approach that? Like, are you supposed to look at different sides of the argument, or are you supposed to just sort of figure out your own position and present it, or how does that work?
Well, the position was kind of given because when we did the research, we found out how awful it was. So obviously, all of us kind of just went against it because it was bad. So then, we did research in it to when we presented it to a group of people, we told them, like, this is bad. This is a bad company, and this is ways that you can help make it better. And so now that everybody knows, like, when they buy a pair of shoes, they know what goes into it.
There was a very strong social justice theme in what you presented. Is that typical of what is talked about or discussed at Met West, or is it just this particular topic?
I think it has to do with pretty much everything we do. There's always social justice in everything we do, everything we research, because we choose to look at the people.
How do you think of that idea of social justice? Like, what does that mean to you?
I think it's a good thing to look at because it's something that you just don't look at. So it's good that we get educated and we're able to share it with other people who may not be learning the exact same topic that we are, but are still learning about other things that also have to do with it. So, and it's great that also people who are visiting get to come in and learn about it and see what it's like from a student's perspective.
Who else was in the room?
We're divided into family groups, all 4 grades. So I had my family group of 20-ish people, and you were there. My advisor's there, and we have an organization called Chapter 510 that's been coming in for last year and this year. And one of them loved our school so much she became a TA and takes Laney classes during the afternoon. So she was in there as well. And I had a couple of friends who are from a different family group also come.
Before you came here, were you in a more traditional public school, or where did you come from before you were in Met West?
I came from Claremont Middle School, and it was a very traditional school. It wasn't a very good school, and I'm actually not from California. I'm from New York, and so I was actually already in a really small school. It was also public, but it had the benefits of a private elementary school like Met West. So going from that to a big traditional middle school was very hard. So I think it was really good that I was able to come back to something that was more familiar.
What are the things that you appreciate about how Met West is structured?
I appreciate the openness and safety that I feel here because the first thing that I said to my friend before he graduated last year, the first day I walked in, I said to him, I'm like, nobody is staring at me because in every school I've gone to, someone's always staring at the new kid or, so that was the first thing that I noticed. And so when I got with the family group, I noticed that, kids who, like, you can still tell that they probably were bullies before. They really calmed down and they're not insulting you anymore. Everybody is, like, focused on work. They want to do well and they want to focus on their passions, which I've never been exposed to before.
Where do you get choice about what or how you're going to learn things here?
Well, when we're doing the internship finding process, we aren't just looking for something that we want to do. We're also looking for the conditions that we want to actually work around. So inside or outside, with people, without people. So the whole internship that you're getting is really up to you. You just have to be open to finding it.
Mm-hmm. And what internships have you done since you've been here?
I have interned at the Crucible, and it's a fire art industrial place in West Oakland, and I was in the flame working department, so I got to make things with glass.
Wow, cool. Any other ideas for what other internships you might want to do before you leave here?
I really want to do something with music or production or video production. I'm really into something with computers or like coding. And it's great because we have an options fair here every year, and there's actually a man who came here, and he says, well, I can take you to the internship site, and they teach all about coding, and then there's also KDOL, which is right next door, and they do video production and just youth radio, does music production. It's just, there's such a big, vast thing to explore, which is awesome.
So you talk some about the relationships between the students. Can you say a little about the relationships between the students and the staff?
The staff with the students is like everybody knows everybody. They know what you like. They know what you do every day. They can always help you, and the relationships between the students is really interesting, because because of the small sizes, you know everybody in your class, and it's not, you don't necessarily have to hang out with them at lunch or like after school. You just know everybody. You feel okay talking to them, asking for help, asking questions. So it's a really open environment with everybody in the school.
So what happens when a student is struggling for whatever reason, personally, academically, behaviorally? In a lot of schools, that means referrals and suspensions and that kind of thing. What happens here?
So what we do is if someone's struggling and needs help, the class is there to support as well as the advisor and other staff. And if it gets really serious, we have a circle in our class to, as long as it's okay with the person struggling, to open up the situation so everybody in that moment can right there give advice and try and help. And then sometimes we like recommend a buddy for them at lunch, like, you know, this person can help you. Or if they're acting out a lot, they get sent to the office where they have a sit down with the principal and their parents or parent, and so they can really assess the problem. And we don't really give referrals, or we try not to suspend people, but when we feel like there's a tear in our community, if there is a fight, I've actually never actually seen a fight here. I used to see a fight maybe 3 times a day at Claremont, but here I've not actually seen one break out. I've seen a really bad argument, but they both get sent out and have a sit down with their parents. And when we feel that there's a tear in the community, they go and they're separated. They get sent to 12th grade classrooms to calm down, see how it is like being a senior, they can really get the feel like this is why I'm here. So then when they come back, we have a circle to welcome them back into our community in our advisory.
Wow, that is so cool.
Yeah.
How many students are here, do you know?
There's 20 per class, so there's 140 or 160 in the school.
Is there any sort of formal student leadership? I understand that you have a lot of control over what and how you learn, but is there anything more at the school-wide level that either helps to make some decisions about how things are run or represents student interest to the staff or anything like that?
There is a sort of council that I know meets on Wednesdays during lunch. I'm not entirely sure what it's for. I think it's one person from each class meets, and I'm not very educated on what they do. But there is a school side council, and I'm actually one of the student members, which we come here on Thursdays. It might have been changed to Wednesday at 6 p.m. to 7. And we have a meeting, and 3 students get to decide like what we do with the budget. We go over the safety plans. We just go over everything in the school, what we do when there's a problem with students, what we need more of if we don't have enough materials. And so we go over everything from the school so they know how the students feel.
At a lot of schools right now, there is a whole lot of testing happening. How much testing happens here?
We don't have that much testing because exhibitions are the advisory finals instead of written finals. Every so often we get a test in our other subjects. It's more to see where we're at for the teacher more than it actually goes on your progress report. And so our real testing happens when we're done with semester. So we take midterms for our regular classes, but it's not... We don't have as much testing because I kind of feel they try and work in that extra hard work to really get you to know things and find out what you know through the quarters so we can have less testing.
And can you just explain a little more about the advisory? How does that work? What happens in advisory? What is the advisory about?
Advisory is an English and history class combined, and each grade learns about something different. Last year, we learned about different capitals, and not, just money-wise, but like like transitional capital, social capital, I guess the values, I'd say. And so this year we're learning more about the world, and it's kind of interesting because a lot of people can't see where the history is in the class, but then when it's explained to you, you're like, okay, well now I know the history is like we're looking at the world now. And then um the English class is really built, to get you to be a better writer and reader, which is what you want to get out of a history class. And so now that just everybody is doing so well with the combined classes, so I always found that people kind of got bored because they're stuck with one topic, like one mindset every hour. This way, things are kind of combined, so you get to do both, and it's not boring, and you stay more engaged through the whole hour.
And then what happens with like math or science or language classes? They're their own separate classes?
Yes, they are their own separate classes, but the way science works, last year we had it every other day because Tuesdays and Thursdays we don't have it. This year we have it once. We have it once a week on Friday mornings instead of advisory. And language classes are regular every other day. Everything is every other day unless it's advisory because we have LTI search on Tuesdays and Thursdays. But everything else is pretty normal.
How well do you think this school would work for lots of students? Like, I don't necessarily mean if the school was larger, but what if education in this country, this was the usual type of school? Like, does it take a special type of person to do well in this kind of school? Or do you think that actually lots and lots of students would actually enjoy and do well in this kind of a school if there were more of them around?
I think I don't think there's any one type of person to learn this way. I think it's who's willing to put in the effort. But also there are some people in the world who have just a really hard time learning, or try the best they can and still don't succeed. But this school is built for success. It's built to take kids who are struggling and help them succeed. And if they need more time, they can just take all the classes again, and they really help you try and get your grades up, and so that you know the material. They make sure the whole way that you know what you're doing. And I think it would be great if this was if there were more schools like this, because I think everybody could be trained how to handle work ethic better. Because a lot of people say, oh, I don't feel ready for college. Like this school helps you get ready for college. When you feel ready after 10th grade, you get to take Laney classes. This helps you get ready for that. This helps you get ready to get to work on time at certain times. So I think this is just a great way to experience life with still having the support of a student that you don't get when you're actually working.
Mm-hmm. And your grades aren't based on competition with another student? Like, is it just basically what you've done and you can keep working to improve it? Is that right? Because like in a lot of schools, you take the test and then you're kind of on a curve and you get a 90, you get an A or an 80. So it's kind of you compared to how other students are doing. Like, is it more about just how you are doing here, or are you still in some kind of competition with other students?
It's on how you're doing. It's all about how you're understanding things. The grading is a little bit different also. In if you miss a day, as long as you get all your work done, you're still counted as absent, but it doesn't get put down that you are absent, because as long as you're doing your work, it's okay. Sometimes, because I know sometimes I get really stressed, even though I'm a very responsible student. I get stressed some days. I just need to stay home and I just need to just think about everything that I'm doing. It's not really a competition. It's just like they want you to do well, and they always tell me, it's like, Kayla, just because someone else is doing better, that doesn't mean you don't compete with them. The only person you should be competing with is yourself. Like the ways that you see that you're struggling, you have to find out ways to get better at it, and I will always help you. And so it's really about you.
Mm-hmm. And how do students and staff of different races and cultures get along here?
I haven't even really thought about that because it literally is like a family. Everybody trusts everybody. There really is no racial different, like, nobody. There are really no cliques. I mean, like, there will always be cliques, like, you want to be with your friends, but it's not always separated by race. Everybody does mix. They like to mix. They like to be with each other. As long as they like each other, they'll hang out. They don't care about your race.
Anything else important for people to know?
I just think it's a great school. You just have to be able to do work, but it really does pay off. And from other people you may be hearing from, like, yes, it is a lot of work, but it is always doable. And I know that I'm a naturally slow person. I need extra time on pretty much everything. But even so, I still get stuff done before the deadline. Like, I'm done early sometimes. Just, it's very doable. And if you want to be ready to, like, right out of high school, if you want to just get this done, go to college and everything, this is a school for you. So, yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much. What is the purpose of the exhibition? Generally speaking, in an exhibition, what are you trying to cover?
Basically, the purpose of this exhibition, or why we have exhibitions, is to teach others, teach our peers what we learn, like, throughout the quarter, throughout the year, and like, to teach them about, because many of us don't know where everybody interns, so, like, having a family and, like, learning from them, and also, like, having exhibitions also prepares for the future for big presentations like the AC Transit presentation. I think it really prepared me for presenting in front of people, and, like, not only my peers but, like, my mentor and, like, yourself and my mom also. So I think it helps us for our future too.
Who was in the room today?
My mom, my family one, how we call it, my mentor Hafsa, and my advisors.
And how did it feel to present in front of everybody?
Well, it was kind of nerve-wracking, but I felt confident because I knew what I was talking about, and I know, like, my internship and, like, my slideshow. I was actually prepared for it.
We could tell.
Yeah.
You did a really good job.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.